All right, well, today's the day. It is November 13th. It is 64 degrees out here. And again, this is the number one place to live. I'm not sure how, probably it'll pick it up based on what do you call it? What do you call it? I think, yeah, the leaf blower, you can hear in the back, it's been going on for about 10 minutes, right? I was promising to do the Nextdoor post about, I put a video up about leaf blowers. There's a 20-minute video. We'll link to that. There is the original less than 1 minute video that I did actually post on Nextdoor, and I said I'm going to do a video on the responses to it. So I had a cold for a week, and I was going to do it and all this stuff, but I ended up, not doing it because I had a cold now. But since you can hear the leaf blowers in the back, this is the perfect time to do it. So I censored out all the Nextdoor stuff. I did that a week ago. As I said, I had a cold. So let's just get to it, right? Oh, you can hear it. Oh, it's wonderful. Anyway, so I'm also going to put the original video in here because it's nice and short. So let's play that. It's going to do a nice, right here. Let's do it. Volume all the way. All right, so I live in what has been described as the #1 city to live in America. And boy, is that depressing. Really? Oh, I can smell it. It doesn't come through on the video. Well, see, this is real life, so you can hear it here, and then you can hear the droning in the video, but there's droning in the video itself. But I can smell it, you know? So it's a stereo. Number one place to live in America. Because when I think of #1 place to live in America, I think, gasoline. Loud noise. Anyways, that's all for now. Okay, so we're back in the real world. You can hear it's going on now, too. So you heard it in stereo. It was wonderful. Anyways, Sky News Australia, that's interesting. We're not
one of the greatest hoaxes in journalism.
All right. So let's go to the Nextdoor thread that I saved as an image, right? So there we go. So that's the video I did actually post on Nextdoor, and that was on the 9th of September. So this was over 2 months ago. So let's go read the whole thing. It's going to be a nice screenshot. Hopefully we can make myself a little bigger here. We are on 3 minutes and we still haven't done anything. Okay, that's fine. So basically I said, why does the #1 place to live in America, lol, reek of gasoline fumes and sound like a loud car wash every 30 minutes? Now, this was especially a problem in September. It hasn't been this, it hasn't been this terrible, in, it hasn't been this bad or as bad in September because it was 30 minutes. Some days it was literally, you could not go 30 minutes without hearing these droning bullshit machines, right? So, I'm not the community activist type. Ron Paul is too much of a socialist for me. See, you get the joke because, see, Ron Paul's not really a socialist, and we're actually going to get to that. So there's some dumb people around here. But Ron Paul's not a socialist. So if I say Ron Paul's too much of a socialist for me, guess what? That means I'm like even right. Okay, we get that. But are there local groups around here that are aiming to reduce or eliminate the noise/pollution from leaf blowers? Today wasn't even particularly that bad, but why can't we have more quiet woodlands and less leaf blowers? See, is that because it's called the woodlands, right? It's called the woodlands. So, hey, maybe, I'd like more of this and less of what you're possibly hearing in the back, although it might be far away. I don't know at what point it kind of cuts off and you can't hear it, but you probably can hear it. You probably can hear it because, I can. So anyways, that's a perfectly good complaint. It's called the woodlands. It's kind of like the Greenland, is not Greenland, right? Yeah, that's kind of here too. I mean, there are woods. It's just you would expect a lot less leaf blowing as well. So anyways, let's finally get to the comments. So Wendy writes, getting my popcorn for these comments and the crying laughing emoji. Sandy starts off very nicely. Move then. I've lived here for 40 years. I haven't enjoyed the overnight explosion and growth either. I want to weigh the benefits of the location and amenities over noise. If you're unhappy with the hype, move. Meh. Either be grateful for what you do have or move. Meh. The Woodlands is not the only place. Well, look, so part of it is like, you know what? I don't disagree based on her comment alone, really, but the rest of them and the fact that no one's doing anything about this, and, you know, there's no good possible resolution to this, most likely, that ends with, you know, not being a noisy shithole. Yeah, that's a possibility, but it's such a false dichotomy. Why can't, you know, in the same way that you have the sprinkler systems here, I've never used them. It's hooked up. I've never even used them because who cares, right? There's enough rain here, and everything that survives here is hardy enough for just the natural rain, right? Doesn't matter. But the sprinkler systems here, it's alternating. Depending on what street address you have, even or odd, that's when you can use the sprinkler system, but anybody can only use it at night anyways. It's alternating and only at night. Well, that's not some massive infringement, like you don't want the water pressure to be low, so you do that, and you also don't want to, if you water sprinklers in the day, you have to water more, so this way you have less watering, and it's cheaper for everybody because the city itself doesn't have to use as much, or I guess township, because, you know, I don't want to relitigate that whole thing. It's technically not a city, but, you know, but the point is, the not city can enforce the rules against pergolas that we've discussed before, right? They can have a rule that says, oh, your pergola is 5 feet from a building, so you need our approval or you have to tear it down. They send out nasty grams about that all the time. People complain about that. So it's like, if they have the capacity to do that, and they have the capacity to tell people to knock it off with the fucking sprinklers and only use it in this restricted capacity, why is it that today, Saturday, it's a perfectly nice day, I'd like to be out here and not listen to this racket, you know? I want to hear the birds. I don't want to hear fucking Mexicans. No offense, Mexicans. You know, the sound of, yeah, Santa Ana's Revenge. I don't think I got that in before a video before. That's what it needs to be called. There's Montezuma's Revenge, you know, when you go to Mexico and you get diarrhea from the water, that's Montezuma's Revenge, right? And named after, what, the last Aztec king, right? Yeah, Santa Ana's Revenge is fucking leaf blowers, absolutely. They win after all, right? So anyways, that's all. So there's plenty of what for me is total bullshit regulation of pergolas. I don't give a shit about your goddamn, I don't care. Who cares? You know, you'd think that if you can busybody people over pergolas and say the township, even though it's not properly constituted a town, that it would have the capacity to regulate the constant stream of goddamn leaf blower noise. Okay? You'd think they could do that. It's now been 20 minutes. You can still hear it. It's like, it's a Saturday. It's 2 p.m. Why am I not allowed to sit in my yard and enjoy the woodlands, the birds chirping, and I have to listen to this constant stream of crap? Oh my God, am I seeing leaf blower? Oh dear Lord. Looks like there's a leaf blower hose I'm seeing right across here. Can we, oh, we have the technology. I'm not really sure. Can we zoom in? We cannot zoom in. The point is that somewhere over there, I'm seeing a hose. I'm seeing a leaf blower hose there. So it's going to get probably very loud here. Even better. Let's flip it back to us. So it's just, anyways, we're now one comment in. 9 minutes. This is going to be a long one. That's fine. We get to be outside and bitch about this, so that's fun. So I responded to Sandy, who gave this false dichotomy that, well, move or love it. Bah. It's like, well, you could stay here and change things, right? I mean, yeah. I would in a heartbeat, but unfortunately, this is not a woodlands-only problem. As far as I can tell, everywhere leaf blowers are just perfectly accepted nowadays. I'm hoping to reform this and maybe get other people to maintain their yards without the constant racket. You know, which is, now, Here's the thing. So 22 people were... Now, some people might have had sad, frowny replies to Sandy, but there were 22 people who said heart or... Now, some people had... And because this is a screenshot, I don't have the numbers. And even here, I would say 65 of the people who responded a lot were hearts or plus ones or whatever, but... It's strange to me that so many people are just wedded to this noise machine, that it's as if you asked them to sacrifice their firstborn, to the volcano gods or something. That, to resolve certain issues I have, you have to sacrifice your firstborn. You could just use, a rat. You could just use a rake. You could just use a broom. You could just... Because again, this is not a massive football field that has a ton of leaves falling on it every single day. And the other issue is, of course, the blowing the leaves into one big pile. That's one part of the equation. Gathering and collecting them is another. And oftentimes, I don't know right here what they're doing, but oftentimes what they do is they simply don't collect the leaves. They collect it into a pile, but they don't put it into buckets. They just blow it elsewhere. Okay. So a lot of the times it's anyways. Right. And that's the problem is there any place to move to that says, you know what? Yeah, leaf blowers are fucking annoying. So maybe twice a month, if you really need to do it, if you need to do routine maintenance on your roof and, you need to get your gutters out, fine, for an hour or two, twice a month or something, we can do that and whatever. But, if it's, you having 3 extra leaves out here, then yeah, fucking use a broom. Yeah, fucking use a broom, asshole. Where's a place like that? I don't see why that's unreasonable, especially if you're going to be busybodying over pergolas all day long, right? You have the busybodying authority to do pergolas. Why not leaf blowers, which are a lot more annoying than a pergola that somebody put up, right? Is it blocking anyone's views? No. Is it? No. But, it's 3 feet and it's an extra additional structure. Oh, we have to be informed. Okay, then who's informed about this fucking noise? Everyone, because you can hear it. Anyways, Sandy. Okay, so here's Sandy with here's a more reasonable solution. Write to the manufacturers of these obnoxiously loud yard tools and let them know how you feel. Good luck. Everything is made in China. So it's some weird boomer con who's like, yeah, everything sucks nowadays and I hate them too, but move. What? So, and she says, I haven't enjoyed the overnight explosion in growth either, but she's just like, I guess, bear with it, I don't understand this attitude, and I think maybe getting a few locally affected people involved is a little more reasonable than writing to unknown factories in China, which I think is kind of reasonable too, but it's not reasonable because Sandy thinks that somehow writing to fucking China, and saying, hey, Chinese people who make these, Chinese people who make these loud racket things, right to that. Is this even serious? Like, are you, I don't know. Jennifer, who's on my side, apparently, you're rude, he has a point. Nick writes, you complain in the morning on garbage collection day. Sounds like I said, this was not, I don't know what this guy, am I surrounded by retards? Did I move to a community full of retards? Like, you complain in the morning on garbage. See, here's Nick. Garbage collection day here. It's 5 days a week, depending on which location you're in. It's a rotating schedule. Here where I live, it's on Fridays. Okay, Friday mornings, Friday to noon is generally, you put it out Thursday night, Friday morning. They pick it up on Fridays here, but it rotates. So to say garbage collection, this is not garbage collection day. Like, is he trying to say, oh, it's kind of loud anyway, so why does it what is being communicated to me here? You complain in the morning of garbage collection. It wasn't the morning. I think it was the afternoon, and it wasn't garbage day for us. I don't know. I don't know what's going on with this. And then he managed to do 2 of these posts because, yeah. Okay. Trina. Oh, Trina. I know that name because I hate her the most. Like, you thought Sandy was just some insufferable cunt. No. Trina takes top gold for that one. Guess what? The grass isn't always greener on the other side. Other towns, it has to be maintained. It too has to be maintained. Maybe you should live on a houseboat. Guess you're just looking for something to complain about, something I've been noticing a lot lately. The grass isn't always greener on the other side. Well, that's what I said is right. You know, other places have this issue too. It has to be maintained. Well, first of all, I think people kind of maintain it a little too much, right? I mean, is there anything wrong with, you know, kind of this? Like, it's kind of growing, and twice a year you can kind of mow it back if you want, but it's viney shit. Like, okay, I don't actually accept the premise that, you know, everything has to be perfectly manicured, because again, look at the name of the place, the Woodlands. So it's perfectly fine if it's a little more natural. Some people don't even have fencing for a backyard, and it just kind of, it's whatever is the woods in this, it's whatever. Now, again, if you want to have a lawn and you want to throw a ball around with the kids in the back or whatever, fine. But can you do it in a way that's not like super light? Because again, maintain it all you want. Just make sure there's no bellows of clouds hitting my yard, right? Again, I don't understand why this is complicated. And I say to Trina, I maintained my front yard today and collected all the leaves in the driveway with a rake and broom. Very little noise this way. I wish other people could do that so everyone could enjoy the quiet. I actually did that, I think 2 days ago as well. I did the front yard where I just raked up the 3 bags of leaves. Did not use, you know, and I don't think I've used a leaf blower even in the garage because it's a little easier to get the garage out. I don't think I'm in about a year maybe. I don't think I've used a leaf blower outside in a year. So I kind of get that people are used to it, they're addicted to it. It's like drugs or something, but like it doesn't actually, it's not much faster to do it with a leaf blower. It's not. And apparently I live next to a highway as well. So let's see here, right? So this is why I think she's an insufferable cunt. Since you already have the wine, would you like me to bring you some cheese, right? And it's like, this is a perfectly reasonable complaint. It's fucking loud. I'm sorry, you dumb bitch, right? Some of us are unable to do this work. Somebody else chimes in, and others have such busy lives that they hire companies that create work for others. You know what would create even more work? Slightly more work, because again, leaf blowers are not that efficient. People just, you know, they do it in circles and it's totally useless. They probably, you know, optimally leaf blowers potentially could be a little faster for gathering leaves. Maybe if you squint real hard and do it, but the way people do it here, it's like even the so-called professionals, I'm sorry, it's not more faster. It's really not. You know, it's just busy work. But, you know, even if we're operating under the premise that, oh, well, you know, we need to create gerbs for people, a rake and a broom's going to create a lot of jobs too. So, you know, and then no noise or a lot less noise, right? So Jeff, oh look, we have a supporter here. I agree with Andrash on this one, especially when leaf blowing crews start their work at 7:30 a.m. every Saturday morning. Garbage, absolutely. You know, so there we go. Yolanda says, that's all you got to complain about? I say, I have more, but this is often at the top of my list. It certainly is. It certainly is. Maybe you should be happier in a country setting. I don't actually disagree with that. It's just, you know, you think you could have the conveniences of having more people around, but no, he's right. I guess he's right. Or even better yet, a desert setting. No leaves out there. Geez, with everything going on in this country and the world, that is what we're complaining about. Yes, because if there's other shitty things in the world that I can't control and that aren't even directly affecting me, yes, the fact that I can't even take a nap at 2 p.m. on a Saturday would be at least something I'm going to complain about. Yes, Mike. Thank you for your worthless comment. Paul says, where I come from here, that's the smell of money. I don't know what that means. I don't know what that, like gas? I don't have a problem with gas. I don't have a problem with cars. I'm not even like, oh, let's go electric. It's I don't want to smell it myself and hear the noise of it, right? So Rod says, I understand the grievance, especially as the weather cools off and you're trying to relax in a hammock, the noise begins. Well, I agree. Well, the AirPods Pro have a noise reduction feature that works rather high. I try to use some of that, and that's fine. It's just, you can still hear it sometimes, and, in an emergency, in a pinch, those are good to use if you really need to listen to something. But sometimes I just want to listen to, I don't know, again, what's the name of this place? The Woodlands. Just want to hear the birds, just want to hear the chirping, just want to hear the quiet wind and not the leaf blower, right? So again, it's kind of like, wow, I'm working at a warehouse and there's forklifts and, well, you should use some earmuffs. It's like, I get that, but again, this is not, the warehouse, it's the Woodlands. So there should be an expectation of quiet, right? Yeah, I know. It's crazy, right? David says, change your rules for yard maintenance and move back to where you came from. Cali or New York, it sounds like. So yeah, it's another boomer con who's like, if you have any complaints, then you're a liberal. It's like, no, again, that's one of the reasons I put the Ron Paul thing in there, that Ron Paul is too much of an activist for me or too much of a socialist for me, right? But when it affects my property, and I can see bellows of smoke, I'm going to have to take a picture of that one day because it's just, you see bellows of smoke, not even from the yard next door, but like the yard over, and it's just floating. That's affecting my property, right? So it's kind of like no different than if somebody took a piece of, took their plastic garbage bags and just threw it out on my front yard. It's like, well, mind your own business. It's like, exactly, yes. So your garbage, whether it's physical shit on my front yard or it's bellowing smokes, it doesn't belong on my property, right? Change the rules for yard maintenance. What do you mean by this? Not from Cali or New York. So Jeff, the guy who was complaining about 7:30 a.m. Leaf blowers on Saturdays, David says, don't require it or make the owner do it himself. Allow it only on certain days. I don't disagree with that, but then why would I want to move back to California and New York where I've never really been? Right. Leave if you don't like it, says Chris. Jeff, I'll make sure to come by your house early in the morning to leaf blow since you're okay with it. So it's like, okay, I don't even disagree with that. It's just like, really, it doesn't bother other people that it's just this loud. You can't restrict it to certain hours. You can't just say. I also don't get, because when I was at the old house, I inherited the leaf blowing people from the landlord, and I was like, whatever. This is the first time I had a house. So I always lived in an apartment or a condo before, so all these things were just automatically taken care of. And I remember like at 9 in the morning, and I sleep in late, right? You just had this cacophony of noise, and it wasn't just even the leaf blower, which is awful. It was also all the little pebbles hitting the window. It kind of looked like this. It kind of looked like this door, where it was mostly, I had the master bedroom had a door very much like this, that it was mostly glass. It was a full glass thing. It had some what do you call it, blinds on it. But the point is, it would hit the window. Like the pebbles would hit the window, and it was just this loud leaf blower stuff. It sounded like someone was trying to break into my house, And I'm like, we're not doing this anymore. I'm just going to do my own lawn from now on, right? So I don't understand that, especially 2:30, are these people not at home? I remember a couple months ago, I guess, it was the same sort of people down there, over there, those people, it was 8:30 on a Saturday. It's like, are they not home then? Like, does it not annoy the person whose house they're in? I can understand like 2 p.m. on a Thursday. Most people probably would still be at work or something. But really? 8:30? 2:30? Saturday? Really? It doesn't bother the people in the fucking house they're in? Where are we? So this seems to be some sarcastic comment. I don't know what this is about. I believe this issue is already being addressed by protesters. The other day while running, I saw some people outside of Lowe's chanting and holding up signs like "Noisy grass blow Joe no" and "Leaf it be." However, I couldn't really hear because people were clearing off the path I was on. I don't know. Is this a joke? I don't know. Maybe banning mowing and other noisy activities during the weekend. It's happening in other countries as well. So Ariana says to that, so if I work, I can't take care of my own yard. And look, that's actually a good point, that some people do it on the weekends. Now, if you're doing it yourself, like, again, you could just use a rake and broom. It's really not that big of a deal. So, that's the only time I have to mow my own lawn. If it's banned on weekends, my lawn will go unmaintained. Is that what we want for our property values? So look, that's one of the problems with restricting and banning shit is like, yeah, some people will only do it. Okay, then don't use the loud stuff, all right? And then somebody says maybe make it a Sunday only thing then. So Laura swings from ban it on the weekends to Sunday only. Well, that's one of the problems is it's like herding cats, isn't it? Colleen says it can be, and I liked it, so it's good. Colleen says it can be obnoxiously loud at times. I notice it a lot when I come back from rural areas where you can be outdoors and actually hear the birds and wind, but this definitely no rural community. Noise canceling headphones and better windows help. Right, which, the better it's like tens of thousands. Yeah, I looked into it. Like, it's tens of thousands of dollars. So, and again, the woodland, again, it's in the name. It's the name. The woodlands, I would want to be in the woodlands and not inside my home, right? That would be one of the selling points is you don't have to be, under house arrest because the outdoors are terrible. Because, again, it's the woodlands, right? But, yeah, I mean, it's just, yeah. Abby responds, I don't like her. Okay, Squidward, SpongeBob episode. It's been the same for 27 years. I love it here! ! So it's, I don't know, I wasn't a SpongeBob fan, but I think it's the annoying guy who's always complaining about SpongeBob, Squidward. And it's like, okay, but... So I respond very empathetically, although... maybe it's like cilantro. Some people love, some people hate it, and some say it tastes like. So, do you find the leaf blowers, especially the gas-powered commercial ones, annoying? Jennifer says, yes. Horrified how rude people's responses to you have been. It's useless posting on Nextdoor. Well, that's probably true. I guess as we're seeing with this, it certainly is. So Abby does say, just for funny reference, annoying, yes, but doesn't last long, at least by me. It's like... Again, I mean, it kind of does. I mean, there are days where you cannot go 30 minutes without listening to it. So I don't know what not long-lasting means because, it's also the randomness of it. It's not even... If you said, okay, you're going to have leaf blowers all day on Monday in the same way there's trash pickup day, on one... Well, okay, fine. Then I'll have Monday scheduled elsewhere. Even though I work from home, I can do a Monday somewhere else, and then enjoy the peace and quiet of being at home for the rest of the week, and be more assured of not having too many annoying leaf blowers around. Right. So it's not even the long. It's the randomness. It's that it is often enough. It's loud enough, and then it's totally random on top of that. It's like someone saying, I'm going to punch you in the face. It's like, I don't know when it's going to come. It's going to come, but I don't even know when. I don't like that lack of control. Anyways. Paul says, why can't we mow those leaves with a mulching lawnmower and leave them in place to mulch the St. Augustine crop, or rake them and compost them? Well, that's a great question, Paul, as to why people don't just say leaves fall to the ground. That's where they belong anyway. So if you don't like a lot of them, just mulch them over, make them smaller, and it'll be reabsorbed into the ground, and then you don't have to waste money on the... It's almost like nature provides us with fertilizers for free, and you don't have to do much work then. All right, you could just have it right. No, that's too complicated. No. Well, Paul, why don't you do that yourself? Rod says. It's like, well, maybe he is. So Yeah, that is what I said. Maybe he already does. It's a tragedy that commons, though. Even if a single person leads by example and does not ever use a leaf blower, that's just a drop in the bucket without everyone else on board. Yeah, so it's like, you know, you have to have some cooperation from other people. You can be a model citizen and do exactly what would be good if everybody else did it, but, you know, one person doing it is not going to do it. Anna says, I always collected leaves as mulch. Well, thank you, Anna, for your service. So this is supposed to be a neighborhood street on top of that, but some people use it as a highway, so that's always fun. I find the commercial gas blowers to be the worst, says Donna. We have installed better windows, and there is some noise reduction. With home maintenance type blowers, the ones we buy at Home Depot or Lowe's, the noise is mild. You know, I kind of disagree with that. I'm going to have to say that both of the people here and here use, I think, electric ones. The electric one this guy uses, I think it has a cord to it. It's like a really screechy, high-pitched hair dryer. It's... You know, and like yesterday, he decided, I'm not going to go over the fence and take a picture right now. I think they might be home. But so they redid their backyard. They got rid of the big deck, and there's a tiny deck, and they put stepping stones. Oh, it's so pretty, and little pebbles. Okay, it looks so pretty, right? And they put a lawn in. It's a small yard, but they put a lawn in. It used to be just messy, kind of maybe like this. Not as bad, maybe. Not as messy, but they put a lawn in, and there's stepping stones. And the guy ended up blowing, I swear to God, for about 5 minutes, blowing from about 3 or 4 square feet of stepping stones for 5 fucking minutes. The 3 leaves on there. And you know where you put the leaves? Right into the lawn. So instead of having like a nice, like right here, you can kind of see, you know, it's a kind of even distribution. Let me see, is it catching? You kind of, I haven't done anything here in a month or two, right? So there's an even distribution of leaves, so it kind of looks like, okay, leaves fell here and that's it. But, you know, instead of having a nice even distribution, oh boy, did we take this off? All right. So instead of having a nice even distribution, you end up with a line of leaves. You know, you end up with a line of leaves where it looks obvious that you just blew it into one clumpy line. It doesn't look better. And then people, the guy next door, he has no, I'm going to take a picture of this. I might post this at some point. But just imagine a small front lawn, and there's a giant clump, a circular clump of leaves that were blown into a big pile. Right, into a big pile. Yeah, he might be in my backyard. And, right, a clump. Now, the professional service that comes here, it comes every week. Now it's maybe coming every 2 weeks. But he tops it off. And he makes a clump for them. It's like, you could do your own lawn then, because you're doing as much work, and you're just leaving a giant clump for 2 weeks in the middle of your front lawn. Like, I live among insane people, you know? It's so clean. It's like you just have a giant leaf clump that's going to kill your grass guy, you know? Anyways. So Donna was saying that the electric ones you can buy at Home Depot are better. The noise might not go as far, but it still is annoying having to listen to them. The commercial gas blowers give us not only the worst noise, but also gas fumes if we go outside after they finish. It would be nice to have all commercial blowing completed on one day, as they do in some neighborhoods. Everyone pays the same crew to finish all yards in one day, say Friday. Saturday and the commercial day could be for people who maintain their own lawns. Sunday should be a definite no. This would reduce the number of trucks with trailers distributing grass as they fly down. Yeah, that's another thing, is because all these people come in through, you know, their trucks, they just end up being annoying for that reason too. We have one neighbor whose commercial service is on Sunday right in the middle of Sunday dinner. I would never say anything to them, but I would like to mention that it is an unpleasant time to have a grass commercially done. But see, that's the thing, and then no one says anything. I don't say anything. What am I going to say? Hey guy, you're insane for clumping up your front yard over here, and you're insane for spending 5 minutes on 3 stepping stones and then making a line of it that looks worse than it did before. What am I supposed to say? You know, Or how about artificial turf? An answer to the noise and the use of chemicals and overuse of water supply. One more comment. People are nasty on this side. If we were speaking to each other in person, would we say what we do in emails? Be kind. Well, yes. Right. It does bring the worst out of us. Now, Martha says, maybe he and others do too. Yeah, okay. I'm shocked by the response of the adults here. Since when is it a crime to have an opinion? I understand that what everyone is saying here as far as blah, blah, blah. But just to be an a-hole and a bully because you don't agree with this guy is really messed up. The busier it gets here, the noisier it gets. That's a fact of life. Some people don't notice it. Some people don't care. And some people are sensitive to that. That doesn't make him or in his opinion bad. It's just different. Since when do we start behaving like the youth today who have no tolerance for anyone who doesn't... Okay, fine. All right. Thank you, Boomer. Thank you, Boomer. Do I have a pimple here? I don't think I do. Anyways, I thought the same thing. Really sarcastic remarks. I agree with him. There's actually a lot of noise in the neighborhood from ongoing maintenance. It's a fact whether neighbors are offended or not. Wow. 100% agree. I'm ashamed for our community. You know what? We will start off with Bill because we've had 35 minutes of this bitch fest, and it has to be said. It's just what it is. It's been nice and quiet. I'm going to, take the opportunity to have a nice little... Oh, boy. My leg fell asleep. My leg. Oh. I'm going to have a nice opportunity to walk in the forest. It's, 60-something degrees. Oh, man. My leg really fell asleep. So anyways, I think that's it for now, and we'll finish this at some point, and that's it. So